So, uh, you know, of course, in this case, it wasn't St. Nicholas who built himself, or even more, some of the buildings maybe were just named Church of St. Nicholas or for St. Nicholas, but it doesn't mean necessarily that the building was made to express precisely or in an identifiable way specificities of St. Nicholas. Yet, you will see now a presentation about religious buildings dedicated to St. Nicholas. Who was St. Nicholas? So St. Nicholas of Myra, you see, he died on the 6th of December, also known as Nicholas of Bari, was an early Christian bishop of Greek descent from the maritime city of Myra in Asia Minor and during the time of the Roman Empire. Because of the many miracles attributed to his intercession, he is also known as Nicholas the Wonder Worker. Saint Nicholas is the patron saint of sailors, merchants, archers, repentant thieves, prostitutes, children, brewers, pawnbrokers, unmarried people, and students in various cities and countries around Europe. His reputation evolved among the faithful, as was common for early Christian saints, and his legendary habit of secret gift giving gave rise to the traditional model of Santa Claus, Saint Nick, through Sinterklaas. So I'll begin in a way with the end, because I'll show you the basilica in Bari where his remnants, his relics exist. This is the building in Bari where the relics had been transported from Asia Minor into Italy, and it's a nice building from the 11th century. So his relics, because he was a historical figure, exist in this building in Bari in Italy. It was not, I don't know if it was built specifically for him, but that's where his relics are. And I like this architecture from the 11th century, 10th century. It's prior to the Gothic, and it has austerity, it has a simplicity that seems almost modern somehow. Anyway, it's right near the sea, and it's moving to know that here you can find the relics of Saint Nicholas. Now, he was Nicolae de Myra. This was the name before he became Saint Nicholas. And he was a bishop born in Asia Minor who became the modern day Santa Claus, as he is known in the West. Saint Nicholas was renowned for his secret gift giving, which has given rise to the figure known as Santa Claus. Not only Orthodox Christians, but also Anglicans, Lutherans, and Catholics revere him, and he has become the patron saint of sailors, merchants, children, and repentant thieves, as I already said. The St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church is today located on the site of the cave in Beit Jala where he resided, and the text written by Nicholas is kept by the Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem. So this is, the oldest building associated with St. Nicholas. And this one in Turkey, apparently his relics came to Italy from this place in Turkey. I mean, these are old buildings, and I love them the way they are. You see the passage of time, you see the patina of time, but the level of authenticity is high, and this is what counts. These old churches move me. because at that time people believed, truly believed. It was not about dogma, it was about maybe the sufferings of life. It was a time when to place stones above stones was not an easy matter. It required great effort, and people were willing to make this effort because they had faith. It doesn't mean it was an easy life or that people lived in peace. No, because human beings cannot live in peace, unfortunately. Anyway, so, you know, where you have the authenticity of feeling, it doesn't matter if the building is imperfect, is unfinished, it was ravished by the elements or whatever. Something of its spirit remains, I think. There is beauty here. I almost said there is beauty here because there is truth. Although the relationship between truth and beauty is not an easy one and is a complex one, although maybe not. Maybe ultimate beauty is ultimate truth. Maybe. Uh, um anyway, I don't know what this is. Is it in the same place? Probably yes. No, it's a different place in Turkey, I think. And now we go to Moscow, Maria, to Saint Nicholas Wooden Church in the Kremlin area of Moscow. And look at it; it's radically different. It's a different place, a different culture, but the same saint. And the creativity of human beings manifests itself in so many ways. It's a wooden church, but it's very rich and interesting. So this one also dedicated to Saint Nicholas, and now the Saint Nicholas Church in Bucharest. We also have a few, or maybe not so few, but I'll just show one, maybe two or three examples from Romania. This is actually a Russian church, and is not far away from the University of Architecture. And now it is restored. You can see the scaffolding. It's a Saint Nicholas church, yeah, a Russian church in the center of Bucharest. Now, another church from Romania, which I like very much. It is partly in ruins, but is the Church of Saint Nicholas in the Sush. Is an old church, medieval church, and I like it. It doesn't matter. It's partly ruined. In fact, the ruins somehow increase the feeling of authenticity, and also makes you reflect on the passage of time. It's a very nice church, I think. Now, I read an Irish 19th century church goes on the market for $190. Can you believe it? This Irish church for St. Nicholas, you know, this is where we are at, in the present, where you could buy a church for $190. Uh, you know, it's less expensive than a mobile phone. Another St. Nicholas Church in Rădăuți in Romania, and it's not that I try to be patriotic. I just thought that, you know, some examples from here would not hurt anyone. St. Nicholas Church in Bacău, this is of a different kind. It's newer, it's more so-called cultured. I like more the older ones. St. Nicholas Church in Dorohoi. But it does move me that, you know, St. Nicholas is honored, you know, here, there, in many countries, in many cultures, in many times. Now, this is a church, a fragmented church, a wounded church in Hamburg, in Germany. And you'll see some moving details. This was a church that suffered during the Second World War. And yes, you know, it doesn't matter how much we talk about religion or how often we go to the church, how often we read the scriptures. It seems we can not abstain from waging wars, and this is very sad. Here on the left, you see a sculpture that is called the Angel of Earth. I don't know other things about it, but I know it's called the Angel of Earth. And this is a weeping man, and he should be weeping because the war was made by man, and the destruction was the result of the war made by man. And look at him, he's weeping, yes, and he should be weeping. And we should all be weeping because we cannot learn from the past, unfortunately, it seems. But we have to try to learn from the past. And this is how it looks in the context of Hamburg, a rich city. You see on the left the building by Herzog and de Meuron. So this is the St. Nicholas Church in Hamburg. Now another St. Nicholas Church in Romania, and there is a large variety of St. Nicholas churches. You'll see also modern examples very soon. I love this picture. You know, it conveys the drama, and you know the darkness of the church is somehow dissipated and or made even more mysterious and interesting by the play between light and darkness. And so I personally like churches that are a little bit dark. This is also a church in Bucharest. And now we go to Mihai Voda Monastery. There are plenty of churches right here dedicated to Sfântul Nicolae, to St. Nicholas. This is another church, and yes. Now we go to Prague, St. Nicholas Church in Prague, a very ample, you know, European church. It's a Baroque church, is a rich church, is a powerful church. But somehow I like also, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say somehow, I also like the more modest churches, because spirit doesn't really need riches in order to assert itself, to manifest itself. But this is an important church in Prague, also dedicated to St. Nicholas. Tomorrow, as I said, we'll talk about Bernini. It will be his birthday. And I will probably make a presentation on Frank Gehry as well, because Frank Gehry inspired himself from Bernini. Or I don't know, maybe I'll talk about Bernini and Borromini, or maybe just about Bernini. But one thing is for sure, tomorrow it will be a day dedicated to the great Bernini. And we need examples like Bernini and so on badly, I think. Église Saint-Nicolas in Blois in France, the Saint Nicholas church in Blois in France. It's interesting if you make materials or presentations in this way, you can compare. It's a chance for comparative, a comparative history of architecture. And you can see big differences now between the church in Moscow, the church in Bucharest, the Russian church in Bucharest and the Russian church in Moscow, the church in France, the church in Italy, and so on. Dedicated to the same saint, but the cultural differences are important, very important. And yet there is unity in the sense that they are all dedicated to, in this case, to Saint Nicholas. Another French Saint Nicolas church. Another one, this one, it's a cathedral actually, it doesn't matter. It's a chapel, it's a cathedral, it's a church. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the thought that brought them into being. This is a church more austere, but I like it. It's tellurical. It's I like the Gothic, and although this might be actually some kind of a neo-Gothic, I don't know, or maybe not. Another church, Saint Nicholas. It's incredible, the richness of expression, the vast array of conveying, the feeling that gave birth to the church. So it's a theme, no? It's a theme. It's the religious theme, and there is a saint that is honored, but the architectural expressions are very, very different. Germany. What I do not understand is how come that countries that build for the same saint, in this case, the same saint, wage wars with each other. This I don't understand. How come? Why is it that we do not understand that we are together on this earth and we should be together and we should learn to live with each other? Why is it that we do not understand this? This is a more impressive church and an unexpected silhouette against the sky. Even the interior is, Teutonic somehow. We are approaching modernity. I like this one too. It's heavy. It's not ornated. Has a level of heaviness. It's tellurical. I could almost express myself a little bit paradoxically, but not too paradoxically. There is some kind of a Romantic Gothic here. You know, it's heavy, but it's also Gothic. Now this is the St. Nicholas Church in New York City that Santiago Calatrava built, and I don't have too many images with it being finalized, but you know, it's in a way it's interesting that you know, there was no Catholic or Orthodox or Christian architect to build this building, you know, because Calatrava is not Christian. And I wonder, you know, a little bit, but it's better to have a non-Christian architect build a good building for a Christian, you know, denomination or faith than to have a Christian architect who builds badly. Not that I'm a great admirer of Calatrava, because I'm not, but you know, he still tried something in a difficult context, of course, from many points of view. Yeah, Santiago Calatrava in New York City, and very close to the World Trade Center site. Now, a church in Quebec, in Canada, you know, a church in the Americas. No, you need to access them by car, and they are not necessarily part. It says in Quebec, but I don't know. I see a lot of space around it. And one in Mannheim, in Germany, you know, austere, Prussian in a way. You know, it's Teutonic, but dedicated to the same generous saint who was the saint of the repentant thieves and prostitutes. And I find it beautiful in a way that the saint understands that, you know, the workings of spirit shouldn't discriminate, shouldn't say, well, they deserve me and they don't deserve me. No, everybody deserves, you know, attention and forgiveness and encouragement, everybody. Another church in München, you know, modern. The Germans have quite a large number of interesting modern churches built around in the 50s and 60s, maybe in part because of guilt that was generated by, you know, what happened in the Second World War. Yes, we sin and then we repent, and then, you know, we have guilt. But why is it that we cannot avoid the causes of guilt? Maybe the devil does exist. Now, this is one of my preferred churches. I think this architect, and in fact, I intend to make a presentation just about him, because I think he was a very special architect, modern architect, who was also the mayor of this place, at least for a period of his life. His name is Walter Maria Förderer. Please remember this name, because he was not any architect. He was an interesting architect. And this is the building he built for St. Nicholas. And he did so before, I mean, this kind of architectural fragmentation, it was rather unusual at that time. I mean, this was maybe, you know, almost 30 years, around 25 years before deconstruction. This is not really deconstruction, but there is a level of fragmentation and even some kind of a strange fluidity. You know, it's this vortex of fragments that creates a dynamic interior. You could say it's an image of turmoil, of inner turmoil. But I believe true faith is not faith in itself, but the desire for faith. And the desire for faith must be earned, probably, every day, just as innocence has to be earned every day and freedom has to be earned every day. And this Dostoevsky knew quite well. And he was not the only one. But this is an interesting church, I think. And, you know, the fact that it was built, I mean, created and envisioned by a mayor. Now, he became mayor at a certain period in his life, later in his life, but still, he is an artist. He's, you know, obviously has, I mean, look at these erosions. I call them positive erosions in a way, these cuts into the walls. You know, I wonder why did he make them? What did he mean by them? You know, it's some kind of a porosity that happened because the architect probably felt that something monolithical and blunt and opaque is not appropriate. So the building opens up in these unexpected ways through these fragmentations. It's a good building, both inside and outside. And look at those churches, you know, the church, look at those crosses, you know, they are three-dimensional, you know, they turn in two directions. Now, a church in Manchester, very heavy. Maybe faith sometimes needs heaviness, maybe. It's like a fortress, a bulwark of resistance. A church in Coventry, also in the United Kingdom. Berlin, 1959, Katholische Kirche in St. Nikolaus in Freiburg, very severe, almost judgmental, and it seems St. Nicholas was not judgmental, was very tolerant. But let's not be judgmental towards a church that appears to be judgmental. Nicosia. I mean, maybe I did the wrong thing because really this is a theme that is very vast and somewhere I have to stop. I have about 200 or I had about 250 pictures. It is a vast subject, but I think it's interesting. I also did some presentation for Saint Andrew and Saint Stephen. This is in Belgium. It has an interesting new addition. You will see it. You see it here. You know, and I like this interplay between the old and the new. It's important because in this way they enhance each other, the old and the new. Maryland, St. Nicholas Church. This is a modern church in Arkansas, in the United States. And it's strange because, you know, Eastern Orthodox churches do not easily accept modern manifestations. But here you'll see, one in a very familiar architectural language. In Arkansas, bordered to this by a large public park and exposed to a major highway. After a lengthy debate about the merits of the existing house and steel frame shop building, the decision was made to repurpose the shop building into a new worship space. The existing shop building had 3 high lift garage doors, a small mezzanine for storage. Anyway, sorry for this long text. I am not going to read it now. Well, you know, there are these technical, well, okay, I'll read them. The steel frame was only in only one location to allow for the introduction of a tower element. They tire me off, too many descriptions. This is the building. And it's not bad. It's, you know, it's a little bit slick. It's a little bit almost mundane, but it has a, you know, a refinement and a certain generosity of expression that maybe goes well with St. Nicholas. Otherwise, it is essentially a box. Maybe that very box, that secretive box in which the gifts, the St. Nicholas gifts arrive at the recipient, at the destination. I don't know. But it looks almost better during the night than during the day. Now, another church in the United States was constructed in 1930. Here, though, is actually not a church. It's don't exactly know what it is. It's some kind of an industrial structure. The structure was torn down to make way for the new St. Nick, which was the largest coal breaker in the world at the time, with 3,800 tons of steel and 1.5 miles of conveyor lines. The monumental machine was capable of churning out 12,500 tons of coal in a single workday. So it was destined to mining, but it was called St. Nicholas. And I thought, you know, we should look at it, because even though it is not a church, it bears the name St. Nicholas. And this is what remained from it. You know, it was abandoned, but even so, I think is provocative for thought and feeling. Could we talk about the viscerality of religion? Maybe. Although, again, this is not a church. And it has the windows broken, as you can see. But it's very interesting inside.